disappointing, but I can't take back how fun that Force Awakens was.
All right, we've got another movie show tomorrow at our usual time on Friday from 11 to 1, where we'll talk about Avatar again, David, SpongeBob, The Housemaid. We'll see you then.
Yeah,
KSL
Merry Christmas.
FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Major developments this afternoon dealing with marijuana. President Trump signing an order that reclassifies the drug for medical purposes.
Marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered in some cases. This may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, December 18th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the order moves the drug from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance. We'll get details on what that actually means and what impact it could have on Utah medical marijuana patients. Also this hour,
after this last summer, working with these guardians, I absolutely feel safer.
schools around the state working to implement the state's new school guardian program in places where it's been put in place. Some say they feel much more secure. But first, our top stories. Authorities have now confirmed that the woman who was hit and killed by a car last night in Price was beloved fourth grade teacher Linda Garvin.
We're a small town, and everyone's connected deeply. The Garvin family and their extended family have made a tremendous impact on the entire community.
Carbon County School District Superintendent Micah Salas says Garvin was attending a Christmas party with coworkers when she was hit. Police say she was hit in a crosswalk by a teen driver. Salas says their hearts go out to the Garvin family, her students and coworkers, as well as the driver and his family. Counselors are available today at Castle Heights Elementary to help those who are grieving. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Trump administration is taking new steps to end surgeries and puberty blockers for transgender children nationwide.
It's a broad set of actions across HHS agencies meant to curb gender-affirming care for minors. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calls the surgeries and medicines sex-rejecting procedures.
Sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria.
The impact of Kennedy's proposed moves could be wide-ranging. They're aimed at preventing nearly all U.S. hospitals which receive Medicare or Medicaid dollars from offering the procedures to children. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Other national stories KSL is following. Officials in North Carolina say there are multiple fatalities after a business jet crashed while landing at Statesville Regional Airport north of Charlotte. Airport Director John Ferguson says the airport now is closed until further notice.
We got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved.
The FAA says there were 6 people aboard that flight. Taking a look at your money at this moment, big change from earlier in the week. The Dow is now up by 76 points. It sits at 47,965. S&P 500 up by nearly 50 points. The NASDAQ up by 1.25%, up 281 points. Traffic and weather, it's sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Maria. We're looking at good speeds out there right now. The earlier crash approaching downtown has cleared nicely. We're looking at about a KSL travel time, 16 minutes from Draper to downtown. Also looking good on the Belt Route. The rescue mission of Salt Lake restores lives of homeless and the hurting people by addressing the cause of homelessness and helping people to return to work. Help rescue mission restore lives. Donate at rescuesaltlake.org. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
30% chance of showers today, up to 40% tomorrow, and then for the next couple of days through the weekend. Today's high 49, up to 58 tomorrow. Right now, 45 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Give her a Bernina, the Christmas gift she'll love and use from Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George.
Buy the Bernina 880 Plus machine.
Previously loved for only $1,999. Other buybacks and trade-ins start at $499, featuring 2-year warranties and free classes. Just what you wished for. Dave's Bernina has a second chance at Black Friday deals.
All machines are on sale, including the new Bernina 3 Series, priced too low to mention. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale. That comes with free gifts.
Special financing offers of 1.9% for 48 months or 0% interest for 24 months.
Incredible doorbuster deals on accessories that you will have to come into the store to find out.
And gift packages worth up to $5,200 free with certain new Bernina machine purchases.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. So we begin with developing news this afternoon. President Trump signing an executive order reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. The move opening up opportunities for research into medical applications and possibly leading to loosened regulations.
Today I'm pleased to announce that I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. We have people begging for me to do this, people that are in great pain. For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more, including numerous veterans with service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life. And it's so really, I mean, I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it, but hopefully this reclassification, which by the way polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life.
The president stressed that this reclassification doesn't allow for recreational marijuana use. That is still illegal on the federal stage. Well, let's go in depth with what this actually means. Joining me now is KSL legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. And it gets confusing with so many different rules across the states. So, but what does the reclassification itself mean?
Yeah, so you stated it really well, Maria. And if you think about Utah's law with respect to marijuana, we do not allow recreational marijuana. We allow medical marijuana. And the reclassification, this to make it a Schedule 3 drug, means that it could be used for medical purposes. It could be studied for medical purposes. And like the president just said, people who have chronic pain or something like that could potentially be able to access marijuana under the federal law in a way that they couldn't right now. Right now, marijuana is illegal under the federal government. So, and our state makes it legal in certain circumstances. It's a real problem because certain states have some different classifications of marijuana. Some states have it recreational. This is absolutely not recreational use of marijuana. It classifies it similar to drugs like steroids, some of your pain medication, where it's available by prescription and it's available for medical purposes. And I think that's what the president is trying to do.
Okay, let's go back to the research part because I was a little confused. Scientists weren't able to research this drug for those other purposes?
Yeah, well, they certainly have, but in terms of getting federal funding for that type of research and being able to access Medicaid, Medicare type of funds that may be available for certain medical use, colleges can do research or certain groups can do research, but if you want the federal government to be able to put resources into it, it's got to be classified as something other than just a party drug, something that people just use to get high or get away for the weekend. So people are looking at this thinking, wow, we're going to have legal marijuana. That's absolutely not the case. It could be seen, Maria, as a step in that direction, but that's not where we're going by making it a Schedule III controlled substance. It's still a controlled substance, which means it is illegal to possess for no reason at all.
Okay, so this isn't going to change much in Utah. We already have medical marijuana, is it?
That's exactly right. It'll actually make the federal law more consistent with Utah state law than it has been in the past, and which is good because if you think about it, we have all these national parks and national forests, and so you could be driving in one area of the state and it's legal for medical purposes, but you enter federal land and it's illegal, and people don't. You're down at Lake Powell and you're using marijuana. It's illegal. Mm-hmm. You think, well, I'm in Utah. I have a medical card. It doesn't count if you're on federal property. So I'm getting into the weeds a little bit here.
But it's tricky.
Yes, it absolutely is. And we still have 50 states that have 50 different rules. So Colorado, California have legalized for recreational. I think Nevada does too. Those state rules will still be in place, but the federal law is more in line with what some states are doing, including Utah.
You mentioned this could be a stepping stone to actually making it recreational use of federal law, but the way the president phrased it today doesn't lead me to believe that that's what he wants to happen.
I don't think he wants that to happen yet, but if the medical research says that it's safe and it's not addicting, then maybe, like we do with alcohol, you could make something like this available for recreational use. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon, but opening the door to more research and to more studies into how it can help people and make their lives better might be a step toward making it like certain over-the-counter drugs, if you will. Maybe it could get to that point at some point.
So I'm curious, though, if they did come up with a federal law making it legal federally, recreationally, would Utah still have to? I mean, how would that work in this state?
Yeah, we have different laws between state and federal. So the feds can make it legal, but if the state decides we don't want it to be legal in our state, they can still make it illegal in Utah. And it's not contrary to federal law. It would just mean that the federal government could not prosecute you for that. So the federal government and state government don't necessarily have to be in line, just so long as they don't conflict with each other, that they don't step on each other's toes. So the feds say we're having it legal to this point. The states say, well, we'll have it legal to this point. That's not necessarily inconsistent. It's just different rules depending on which state you're in.
Okay. Well, bottom line is more money for research at this
Absolutely,
point in time.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Greg. That is Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst and the host of Inside Sources. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
Utah school employees who want to carry a gun are now being trained on how to handle an active shooter situation. The School Guardian program was approved by lawmakers 2 years ago and went into effect at the start of the school year. Emery County is leading the way in this training. They now have at least one armed guardian in all of their schools. Sheriff Tyson Huntington says each volunteer completed the state-mandated curriculum.
And it covers everything from first aid to liability stuff, a lot of firearms and that kind of training. And so what we did is we started out with our guardians once a week. We did a 4-hour training session every week, and we'd start in our classroom, in our training room, and we just went through the chapters of the curriculum that the state sent down and started doing that. And then about the third session, we would do 2 hours in the classroom and 2 hours at the gun range. So we'd split the class in half and half stay in the room, half go to the gun range. And we started just with our basic firearms training there. And we had brand new shooters. We had military veterans. We had seasoned hunters. We had all kinds. But they were all able to just push off any preconceived notion on what firearms was and shooting was. And we were able to start at ground zero with all of them and work together and get to the point to where they were passing the qualification that was required by the state. And then we went a little further and did some other firearms training that we do with our deputies a little bit. And then our last day of training officially for the first part of the Guardian stuff was a scenario day that we did at Emory High with, they're called simunition guns. They're a life-size, same weight handgun, but they shoot a serious paintball instead of a bullet.
Sheriff Huntington tells Inside Sources he believes schools in his county are now better prepared for an emergency situation.
One of our scenarios is we talked about distractions to the guardians, that their focus would be on the bandit and making sure that they disarm that person, and then they hold the scene until law enforcement gets there. So they've been prepared knowing that they might be waiting, upwards of 10 minutes. And then another thing that the school district has done is they have an app that all the teachers and administrators have within the school that they've allowed our sheriff's office to have as well. So anytime there's an issue, they hit a single button and every one of my deputies get an alarm. And right now, when those things go off, it's just open season. Every deputy, whether they're home or they're at work, they're allowed to head to that school. And most of the time before they get to the school, we realize what's going on and we can cancel units. But we had an alarm go off yesterday, and it was just for a medical reason. But we were able to get deputies there quickly. And then also we require our deputies to spend time in each school, just at bare minimum, just to walk through. All the deputies know the times of recess and times of lunch. So we ask them to stay close to schools as well during that time if possible, just because it's such a priority and such a thing that we deal with nowadays, that we just got to do our best to be ready for it if it happens.
House Speaker Mike Schultz tells Inside Sources it's too early to know how well the Guardian program will work.
I think it's a great program. I think it's going to work really well. The thought behind it is, we have a lot of schools and a lot of school districts that can't afford to have police officers at every school. And so having police officers, I think it's the Sheriff's Association and the sheriffs in those counties that are charged with identifying guardians and helping train guardians for a crisis moment or for a crisis situation, I think is a really good program, and I think it's going to prove to be really beneficial, especially in some of the rural school districts. But I think it'll help in school districts along the Wasatch Front as well.
In Emery County, the sheriff says that his more than 24 guardians will continue receiving training every month. After the break, we'll take a closer look at a plan to dispose of nuclear waste from Canada here in Utah. The plan is getting quite a bit of pushback ahead of a vital meeting tomorrow. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
Maria, I'm looking at a live shot of northbound I-15 approaching Bangerter Highway. We do have a stalled truck that is over on the left shoulder, and that appears to be causing a little bit of slowing as you're coming around the point of the mountain. Other than that, I-15 running at posted speeds. Western Nut can be found in most grocery stores, mall kiosks, and the flagship store downtown. Only the freshest quality nuts, brittles, fudges, chocolate, caramels, gifts, and more. Visit westernut.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's that time of year where it's really tough to talk about taking off those extra pounds. I mean, there's sugar everywhere. I can't tell you in our newsroom here how many different types of candies and cookies there are. But I need to tell you about a great offer by Salt Lake City Fat Loss. This is a program that's helped me lose more than 40 pounds because right now they have a huge holiday sale. It's their lowest prices of the year now through December 31st. Now, you don't have to start the program right now. You can start after the holidays, but you need to call now to lock in the huge discount. So go to slcfatloss.com to do just that. And wouldn't it be great to start out the new year trying to get in better shape and trying to get healthier? I can't tell you how much better I am out in the yard these days because my back just doesn't spasm every time I work out there just for taking off those pounds. I've lost more than 40 pounds. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day on this all-natural program. It's less expensive than other programs because you're not forced to buy anything, and it has a wonderful app. Find out about these holiday savings at slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
The holiday season is here, and it is in full force, and it's time for you and your entire family to get into NPS, where everything, every day, is 20 to 70% off. But the great thing is, shopping is truly an adventure at NPS because they'll have additional savings on top of the 20 to 70% off. It's a chance for you to really stretch those Christmas dollars at any of the 4 NPS stores. And at this time of year, it's so important for you to know that they've got it all. They've got toys for the kids. They've got art supplies, the holiday decor, everything you need for your holiday meals. It's waiting for you at NPS. There are 4 stores, 2 in Salt Lake on Empire, the traditional store, and then the more industrial store across the street. There's one in Orem, and there's one in Layton. NPS, a nice place to save.
Hi, I'm Emily, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where a small box with a burgundy bow will help you win the holidays. As an in-house designer, I love creating meaningful, fine jewelry gifts. Choose a necklace with a gorgeous infinity charm to symbolize your everlasting love. Or go for a personalized piece with an engraving, their zodiac sign, favorite color gemstone, or their initial accented with pave diamonds. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Stop by or shop now at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This holiday season, make your wish list a reality at Performance Automotive in Bountiful. When you choose performance, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Performance Ford, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best. Start your search today at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive. Driven to be the best.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. 88 environmental groups are joining forces to speak out about Energy Solutions' proposal to import Canadian radioactive waste for disposal in Utah. The The proposal to bring in 1.31 million cubic yards of low-level radioactive waste to a Tooele County facility is being considered by the Northwest Interstate Compact at a meeting tomorrow. The proposal first came to light last September and comes as many Utah leaders push for more nuclear power in the state's energy portfolio. Heal Utah is among the groups speaking out about the plan. Senior Policy Associate Carmen Valdez tells me that they're asking the compact to stop the plan.
We have serious questions about transparency, safety, fairness, and the type of waste that is coming into our country, as well as the large amount that is being proposed. Low-level radioactive waste has not been accepted for permanent disposal in the United States from international sources before, and we're worried what the precedent would set and what it means for the world to be dumping their radioactive waste in the state of Utah.
How would this be transported to the state?
From what we understand from attending the meetings and hearing Energy Solutions speak is that this would be transported via rail, likely Union Pacific. It would likely come in through the northeast part of the country and then travel all the way across on railways to be disposed of at the Clive facility 80 miles west of Salt Lake City. So there's chances it could go through communities, cities, big cities, small cities, and would be transported via rail that way.
You mentioned the significance of the amount of waste that we are talking about here. How much waste has been transported in the past? I mean, you said this is the largest amount and would set a precedent?
We're talking 1.3 million cubic yards, equivalent to, several Olympic-sized swimming pools. This is a lot of waste. But looking at the Clive facility, the amount of waste disposed of at Energy Solutions in 2023 was about 100,000 cubic yards. So they on a website you can see it was about 3 million cubic feet. So that would be about 1 million just in 1 year of cubic yards. So this is huge to come in that we're seeing.
It's mentioned that it's low-level radioactive waste that will be disposed of at this Clive facility. What's the difference between low-level and other radioactive waste, and what do you see as being the health concern to Utahns?
Low-level radioactive waste does not mean there's no harm from radioactive exposure. Low-level usually comprises of materials that were near radioactive facilities that are presumed hazardous or could be potentially radioactive, like clothing, workers' gloves, cleaning supplies, things like that. And this is something that Energy Solutions has accepted in the past. However, they're also proposing bringing in mixed hazardous waste, which may not quite be low-level radioactive waste, but is deemed hazardous and mixed materials. And our concern is that we don't know exactly what these materials are. We're just hearing that it's coming from the nuclear energy part of Canadian waste. And to go back to the first point of low-level radioactive doesn't mean it's not hazardous to humans. There's a reason it needs to be disposed of in proper, regulated, and enforced ways to ensure that humans are not being exposed to this waste that will remain radioactive for hundreds to thousands to hundreds of thousands of years to come.
Where is this plan in the permitting process, and what are you asking for at this point?
The Energy Solutions has requested the Northwest Interstate Compact to bring in this waste. They asked back in September. There is a discussion to be had on Friday, December 19th, in which the Northwest Compact will either vote or continue their discussion on to another date on whether or not to allow this waste. They have the ultimate decision on whether or not this waste can be allowed into the compact. If it is approved from the Northwest Interstate Compact, then Energy Solutions still needs to secure NRC approval for importing radioactive waste for disposal, as well as Canadian exporting requirements for that. One of our biggest concerns, though, is that Utah residents won't have a say in this waste coming in at a local level. Because Energy Solutions is already approved to bring in low-level radioactive Class A waste, this falls under their current approved ordinance. And so therefore, there's no requirement for the state of Utah to host public comment for this request to bring in foreign radioactive waste.
So for the meeting tomorrow, what are you asking to be done?
We are asking to vote to stop the waste from coming in, to vote no on their request.
Any final thoughts for us here?
HEAL continues to be concerned about transparency and fairness about our communities in Utah. The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act was recently expanded to include all of Utah, including northern Utah, which highlights Utah's unique exposures to radioactive threats from our past, and to bring in another stream of radioactive waste without the community's engagement is really concerning for us as a community-led organization. And we hope that the Northwest Interstate Compact will take into consideration the public's concern about this, despite what they may hear from Energy Solutions or our governor. So we hope that this waste is stopped and we don't set a precedent for Utah to become the world's dumping ground.
We have reached out to Energy Solutions for a greater explanation of the program and to respond to some of the complaints lodged by these 88 environmental groups, but have not heard back yet. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. The federal government banning gender-affirming surgeries for minors. We'll go in depth on this sensitive topic, looking at several sides of the issue. You may have heard that people are pulling back on their Christmas shopping, but Utah retailers are seeing a different trend. And KSL traffic, Michelle?
Looking at big backups for drivers making their way westbound on I-80 in South Salt Lake. They did have all traffic stopped. You're backed up to about 9th East.
Communities on edge in New England following deadly shootings this week at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, followed by another shooting of an MIT professor in Massachusetts. ABC's Aaron Katursky says new information shows both attacks may be connected.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News that the shooting at Brown University that killed 2 students may in fact be connected to the shooting death, the apparent murder of MIT professor Nuno Lolero, who was shot and killed in the foyer of his Brookline home on Monday night, pronounced dead on Tuesday morning at the hospital.
The U.S. Treasury Department announcing it's targeting 29 shadow fleet vessels linked to Iran, it says, exporting Iranian oil through what it calls deceptive shipping practices. The NTSB sending a team to North Carolina after a small plane crash today in Statesville Regional Airport north of Charlotte. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah schools are working to implement the new School Guardian program. It went into effect at the start of the school year, and Emory County is leading the way in getting it off the ground. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
State lawmakers approved the program 2 years ago, and it allows employees to volunteer to carry a gun and train on how to handle an active shooter situation. Emory County Sheriff Tyson Huntington told me they now have at least one armed guardian in all of their schools.
We had brand new shooters. We had military veterans. We had seasoned hunters.
Huntington tells inside sources they spent a lot of time at the gun range and running through active shooter training scenarios, and he says his more than 24 guardians will continue receiving training every month. On top of having a guardian at every school, he also says they've set up an alarm system so in case something happens, any deputy, on duty or not, can respond to help.
We're going to do our best to be ready for it if it happens.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Provo Canyon will have some closures this weekend.
Everyone knows the path from Provo, up Provo Canyon, up to Heber. It goes from 2 separated lanes into a single lane each direction, and we're going to make it 2 lanes in both directions.
UDOT's Wyatt Woolley says it will take a few months, but they are starting with the northbound lanes. Traffic on US 189 from Main Canyon Road in Wallsburg to the intersection of SR 1131 in Charleston will be closed overnight on Saturday and partially closed on Sunday. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 161 points, sitting at 48,046. S&P up by 65. The NASDAQ at this point up by 347 points. That's 1.5%. Traffic and weather is sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
For some reason, they had the westbound lanes on I-80 in South Salt Lake closed. Those have been reopened, but it has caused a pretty sizable slowdown. This is starting just prior to 7th East, headed back up towards State Street. Once you get past that, you're moving free and clear. Also, I-15 in good shape. From now through December, earn triple points with a rewards Visa from Cypress Credit Union. Shop for everything on your wish list and earn points points to redeem awesome rewards. Start your application today at cypresscu.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Still a chance of lingering showers across the Wasatch Front for today, about a 30% chance, increasing to a 40% chance for tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. We are going to get a little bit warmer tomorrow with a high of 58. Right now, 45 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Mr. Mac, suiting for every important chapter of your life. Weddings, proms, new job, any celebration, mission callings, and more. Mr. Mac's there to suit your needs with 9 locations or MrMac.com.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Trump administration taking new steps today to end surgeries and puberty blockers for transgender children across the nation, regardless of specific state laws. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more from Washington.
It's a broad set of actions across HHS agencies meant to curb gender-affirming care for minors. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calls the surgeries and medicines sex-rejecting procedures.
Sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria.
The impact of Kennedy's proposed moves could be wide-ranging. They're aimed at preventing nearly all U.S. hospitals which receive Medicare or Medicaid dollars from offering the procedures to children. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The ban features two main rules. Here's HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
The first rule will bar hospitals that participate in Medicare and Medicaid, which is almost every hospital, from performing these dangerous and harmful procedures. The second rule prohibits the federal Medicaid dollars from funding the sex-rejecting procedures on minors.
Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Oz, spoke at the announcement this morning, saying doctors who allow for gender-affirming surgeries on minors are taking a fast-track approach. He says those doctors ignore the true causes of gender dysphoria.
Under politicized medicine, people suffer long-term consequences. Let me go through the three major categories. Puberty blockers, reduce bone density, alter brain development, which is a real problem when you're 11, 12, 13 years of age, and disrupt sexual function for the rest of your life, oftentimes. Cross-sex hormones cause irreversible changes, including infertility, loss of sexual function, even cardiovascular issues, as well as long-term endocrine problems. And of course, the surgical interventions where you remove healthy organs, despicable and reprehensible as it is, permanently alter appearances and destroy children's lives. So let's talk a moment right now about the big question. This dangerous fast-track approach in invasive treatment, what it really does is slap a Band-Aid on a much deeper pathology, a much deeper problem, the underlying issue of gender dysphoria. It denies patients the opportunity to be seen for who they really are. The doctor can't look them in the eyes and treat them like a child that's confused and lost and needs help. They become an opportunity. They become eventually a victim. Reasonable evidence-based objections that a child's confusion might resolve over time have been ignored, even though it makes common sense, and it turns out from numerous studies now in Europe to be true. Again, we outlined these in the op-ed. And this is not how clinicians respond to the care of other pediatric issues, but it's how we respond to pediatric adolescent mental distress. And the medically honest approach is to at least start slowly, the least invasive possible, psychotherapy, counseling, including family counseling, evaluation of other conditions like ADHD and autism, and of course treatment of the anxiety and depression that so often is included with this diagnosis.
To get some additional perspective, I reached out to our Health Matters partner, Dr. Richard Ferguson, with the Black Physicians of Utah. He says this proposal would sharply reduce access to health care for people who need a life-saving treatment.
This proposal uses federal payer leverage, which has not been used before in this manner to restrict access to care. So I think that's the biggest kind of takeaway. The other thing I would say is parents that really wanted to try to get this type of care for their children that have gender dysmorphia, which you cannot counsel away, parents will face higher costs, particularly under travel, and it'll lead to some forced care disruption, disproportionately affecting more low-income families, I wanted to say, have access to this. And then I think there's more of patient care will become more fragmented with a predictable, I would like to say almost like a chilling effect on various multidisciplinary programs that were, curtailed specific for youth services and referral networks, particularly youth services for pediatric care for those that are seeking gender affirming care, endocrinologist access, mental health access for these teens and children. So I think it's more downstream that we're going to see the impact. But once again, remember, we in Utah did this in 2023, where at a state level, we already had a moratorium and a ban barring transition-related surgeries for those under 18 and restricted hormone therapy. I think the biggest thing to understand here is that many of these conservative policies, their proponents, their argument that this is about child protection and stopping, a irreversible outcome, and these children don't understand the consequences of the actions or what will be done for them, especially if their parents are actively involved in the care. I think this is something where you've got government coming in telling parents, no, you don't know what's best for your child, but they're also going in, we know what's best for your child as well. We're going to take away hepatitis B so that, you have to get it later instead of at birth. So it's kind of I think they're trying to phrase things as we're giving you freedom of choice, but here we're restricting it because they feel that this is harm to children. There isn't evidence to support that there is harm to the pediatric population from this. Many conservative policymakers that support this ban on a very, very small niche area of our population, the data just isn't there to show that we're causing children to suffer and they're going to have all these long-term post-traumatic effects because hormone therapy or surgery was offered at an earlier age.
How does this impact a doctor's ability to provide the best care for their patient?
So if it's starting from primary care and a pediatrician has clearly identified a child with gender dysmorphia, say at 12 or 13, that child now has to pause and possibly seek care elsewhere. And they can't refer them to an endocrinologist. They can't refer them to a surgeon. But often hormones is what's generally started in the puberty time frame, or once again, the puberty blockers. And many people, if it's not going to be supported by the federal government for those on or programs that receive federal funding, particularly at hospitals and clinics with federal funding, the doc often will be really hampered on where they can send these children or parents that need the care. So it will really limit. Doctors are already fairly limited. Primary care docs are often fairly limited in Utah. We rank kind of very much close to the bottom in regards to primary care access in our state. Often people have to wait 6 months, sometimes 4 months to get in with a primary care doctor if they move here and establish care. And that's with, reliable insurance. And so now you're going to put people on kind of like this waiting period if they, not only because of the ban, and there will be less likelihood that people will pay for the care or the care will get covered. The biggest thing is it won't be covered, so people won't seek it.
One of the arguments made by proponents for this type of thing is that children shouldn't be making these decisions. They're not able to make these decisions. They're too young to make these decisions. You mentioned hormonal care should take place in your teen years. How does it affect someone who needs this care later on?
I think we have to understand the broader implication of when someone has acknowledged that they feel they are in the wrong body, like their gender is not appropriate or is not matching with how they feel, how they identify, from say their gender identified at birth. And so, but I think the other thing we have to really understand is the parents are part of this decision making. So we've kind of, it's not really a 13-year-old that says, I need to start these treatments, mom and dad. It's a discussion amongst the family, and it's with the consent and approval of the parents. So I think it's more so not the children that are making these decisions at 10 or 13. You're taking this away from a parent that wants to provide this service, this medically necessary surgery and hormone therapy to their child that's suffering. I mean, it's when we think, often we have been on here with our Mental Wellness Alliance, one of the highest groups for suicide in our nation are those from our transgender population. And so when they're untreated, this increases that risk. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which is a highly reliable, honest, evidence-based physician organization that focus on caring for children, they've done a comprehensive analysis and on gender affirming care. And they very much believe in a holistic, multidisciplinary approach that emphasizes reducing stigma and discrimination. And so I really want people to understand that AAP supports gender affirming care being offered in discussion with parents' approval. I think we need to stop this myth that this is being driven by a preteen or a teen.
Dr. Richard Ferguson is an emergency room doctor and the founder of the Black Physicians of Utah. The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints is returning an ancient Native American artifact that's been sitting outside of a chapel in Tremont for 80 years. More on that after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
Overall, looking good out there, Maria. I-15 running at posted speeds. Just a little bit of slower traffic as you're approaching the 600 South off-ramp into downtown. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Join KSL News Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now. Let's go! Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
Ebenezer Scrooge, you have yet a chance of escaping my fate. Ah, humbug. You still have time to get a Mountain America Rewards credit card and earn 3 times the points on every dollar spent, but only through the stroke of midnight on December 31st.
I suppose I can learn to enjoy the holidays with triple rewards.
Apply today and learn more at macu.com/triple.
Membership required based on eligibility. Loans on approved credit offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Business cards not eligible.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Although many consumers are worried about the economy, they are not sacrificing the holidays. Retailers here in Utah are seeing this trend firsthand. West Valley City Walmart store manager Carmen Barber says customers are being careful.
I have noticed that it's at least as much as last year,
but I do see a continuation of a trend we started seeing last year where people are being very intentional on what they are spending. So I'm seeing more people coming in with lists on their phone or a handwritten note, and I feel like there's a lot more planning. And so maybe that's where the less confident side comes in, and on a budget, but they are still coming in and trying to create that experience. That's kind of the main theme that I see. They're like, hey, we're going to be intentional, we're going to stick to our budget, but we want to have that experience, because maybe it has been not in all cases, but potentially it's been a harder year, and this is a great way for families and friends to come together and still have a great experience with one another.
Barbara tells KSL News Radio's Isabella Sosa pre-made gift sets are also very popular this year.
And this is just my general opinion and what I've noticed in my store. I can't speak for all stores. But I have seen an increase on like pre-made gift sets. So maybe they're looking for a certain price point and theme for someone they have in mind. So we saw a lot of gift sets in like the beauty and food categories. And I do see those doing a little bit better than other categories like appliances. A lot of times small appliances will do pretty well. At least for the moment, there's still a week of shopping left. But I do see a shift more towards pre-made gift sets.
When it comes to toy purchases, Barbara says there's been a shift back to more traditional items.
Right now, I've seen a shift back to a lot of very traditional items. There aren't a ton of items that we've noticed as, oh, there's this new thing and everyone's going crazy for it. A lot of things have been around for a while. Pokemon has seemed really big this year. Anything Pokemon related has done really well. The other things in toys, I've noticed board games really coming back. So board games, card games, Hot Wheels. Easy Bake Oven this year has a new twist on theirs where it's an ice cream Easy Bake Oven type of thing. So that's done well. The blind bags, so anything that comes as like a surprise, and there's lots of different categories of these, but you open it up and it'll be a surprise, like which one you get. So any blind bags are well. Legos, bikes, both been around a long time, but I'm seeing those do really well. There is a little bit newer item that's been around for a few years that's doing well called Fugglers. Kind of like an ugly, on purpose looking little stuffed animal. And that's done well. Also the Meta glasses that we sell here for like AI glasses, those have done very well.
And she says shoppers are also sticking to tradition when it comes to their holiday meals.
I do see some in general prioritizing like traditional meals. Right now, Walmart, for example, has a meal package that you can buy that feeds up to 6 people, and it turns out to be about $4 a person. And you can click that right from our website, purchase holiday meal, and it gives you all the things you need to make like a traditional meal for your family, and at a pretty good price. So I am seeing that do pretty well. The other thing I'm seeing are people coming in wanting to make, if it's not the traditional meal that we offer, coming in with their own traditional meal list. I am seeing a lot of people very conscious of what's on sale. Right now, Walmart has focused on rollbacks, which is our sale on items, and we've focused heavily on grocery and those consumable items that most people need on a regular basis. So with that said, they're a big help. I do see a lot of gingerbread houses and gingerbread making, like things that you would use to make that, doing really well this year. Other things to make those homemade treats, as well as candy. Those are all doing very well at the moment.
National Retail Federation predicts that nationwide shoppers will spend $1 trillion collectively on the holidays for the first time, despite many people feeling anxious about the economy. An ancient artifact sacred to the northwestern band of the Shoshone Nation is making its way back to the mountains of northern Utah. The rock is covered in 1,200-year-old petroglyphs and was taken about 80 years ago to be part of a Latter-day Saint meeting house in Tremonton. Ryan Saltgiver is a historic sites curator with the Church History Department of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he tells the church newsroom that returning the rock was the fulfillment of a moral duty.
The church really has no legal obligation to do anything like this, but we do have a moral and ethical obligation to care for things like this that are in our possession, and in particular to return those things that are, in this case, very sacred objects to those rightful owners.
From what church historians can tell, either a group of men or Boy Scouts took the 2,500-pound rock from the hills and hauled it to the meeting house in the bed of a pickup truck. Since that time, it's sat outside the building in Tremonton. For Brad Perry, the vice chair of the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, he's glad this multi-year process is now complete.
What a spiritual experience it's been having something that's going to be returned. This was a very important area, especially for my family. You can definitely tell this is where they camped. It's a very spiritual place. It's important to us in our Aboriginal territory when we find something to ask those that are around it to protect it.
Perry says he can understand why people took it in the first place, but he's glad that it's finally back home. Stay with us. Another hour of Midday is coming up.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Wildfires are probably one of the last things on your mind right now, but state leaders still moving forward with a new map highlighting the increased risk found in many parts of Utah.
The legislature said, hey, we need to have these people that are living out in these high-risk areas start to take some responsibility, providing them tools that they can understand, what their risk is and how to reduce it.
The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday, December 18th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, which portions of the state are most at risk for wildfires, and what do homeowners need to know to keep their property safe? We'll get details. Also this hour,
we're a small town, and everyone's connected deeply.
The community of Price is mourning today following the death of a beloved teacher killed while crossing a street. But first, our top stories. Authorities have confirmed that the 64-year-old woman who was hit and killed by a car last night in Price was a fourth-grade teacher. Police say it happened just after 7 when Linda Garvin was crossing the street near 5th North and 3rd East by a teen driver. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Today's consumer prices report shows inflation has started to slow down.
We were expecting inflation to show that consumer prices rose 3.1% last month compared to the same time last year, but instead we saw consumer prices rose 2.7%. And if you strip out food and energy prices and you get to what they call the core inflation rate, it was actually 2.6%. So this report coming in a lot cooler than expected.
That is ABC's Alexis Christoforous reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. New images show a person in the area on the same day that a gunman killed 2 students and injured 9 others at Brown University. Police are looking for the individual who they say may have relevant information as the search for the shooter approaches 1 week.
What officials are saying is that there are 1,200 cameras plus on campus, but just to give you an idea of where we're standing right now, we are on the far east side of campus. So all of the surveillance that you've seen so far is from the neighborhood adjacent to where we're standing right now, quite frankly, just across the street and then in a few blocks that follow. And so what officials are saying is that, none of the cameras on campus capture the person in a way that would be helpful.
That is ABC's Christiane Cordero. President Trump signed an executive order reclassifying marijuana this afternoon from a Schedule I to a Schedule III controlled substance. His move opens up opportunities for a search into medical applications and possibly for loosening regulation.
Hopefully this reclassification, which, by the way, polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life.
President Trump stressed that the reclassification does not allow recreational use. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is closing up 65 points, sitting at 47,951. S&P closing up by 53, and the Nasdaq closing up more than 1.25%, up 313 points. Traffic and weather is sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
I-15 running at posted speeds from Ogden to Provo. Looking at a little bit of intermittent slowing, though. This is Pioneer Crossing going between American Fork and the ranches. Christmas time is merry and bright at the shops at Riverwoods in Provo. Come see Santa, shop, dine, and see magical Christmas lights at the shops at Riverwoods in Provo. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Still a 30% chance of showers across the Wasatch Front today, increasing to 40% for the next few days. Right now, 45 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Are you within 3 years of filing for Social Security? You've heard about delaying your benefits to get a bigger benefits check, right? But guess what? That could be a huge mistake. When you consider your taxes, Medicare premiums, and other benefits, you could potentially get more income by filing early. Find out the precise timing that could get you the most money possible with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Don't leave one dime on the table that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A law going into effect January 1st requires Utahns who own property inside the wildland-urban interface to help pay for the costs of fighting wildfires in those areas. Today, the Utah Department of Natural Resources unveiled a new online tool to help everyone with the evaluation of who those property owners are. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff has details.
Maria, this year was one of the worst in state history for structures burned by wildfires, and the cost to fight those fires was well over $100 million. Now state lawmakers want those who own property along that interface, especially those with structures like homes and cabins, to help pay some of those costs. Tiger Rohr with the Utah Department of Natural Resources says sometimes there's confusion about the wildland-urban interface.
One of the misunderstandings of knowing what that interface area is people typically think of that as just the homes up against the brush or trees. But that's really not the case. It goes like a mile in from that fuel, if that fuel stopped, because you have the ember issues. And those embers can travel beyond a mile. But those are a massive problem. They've caused structural loss here in Utah this year. And certainly we have examples from other states, including California at the beginning of the year, that really highlight those problems.
Rohr says part of the new law requires DNR to create a tool to help determine where those properties are so that fees can be collected.
The counties are responsible to collect the fee. We set the fees, the division, and it's if you're in the high risk, you're going to get a fee. First 2 years, the fee is going to be a flat rate based on square footage. So it's going to be a fairly simple fee between $20 and $100. If you got a higher square footage property in the high risk, you're going to be at that 100. You got a lower square footage property in the high risk, you're being at the 20-ish.
But starting in a couple of years, they're going to start doing lot assessments to determine the fees.
It's going to take a couple of years for the lot assessments to kick in. In 2028, though, that will go with the square footage and how their lot is assessed. So if a person has a lot assessed and they meet all of the home hardening and defensible space requirements as outlined by the Utah State WUI code, the Wildland Urban Interface code, then they'll be in the lowest category of that high risk, and they will have the lowest fee.
Rohr says part of that assessment will be to determine if the property owner has done things to harden the property, like clearing away brush and creating a defensive space to help prevent a fire from spreading. Even though there will be a state fee connected to these properties, Rohr says how this affects insurance rates could have an even greater impact. He says the law also requires insurance companies to use this new tool in determining rates.
They are required to use this. It doesn't say how they have to use it, but it certainly is going to be helpful for those property owners that get a lot assessment and that show that they've done all the steps necessary to reduce their individual risk in that area, to have an official document from a certified lot inspector that says, hey, they've done all these things, to show the insurance companies that, hey, I have addressed my risk as best as I can, and it's a good reason to both carry me and maybe give me more favorable rates.
This new tool is active and ready to go right now for any property owners interested in finding out if they're part of that wildland urban interface.
They would go to the Utah Wildfire Risk Assessment Portal, UWRAP if you want to Google it, and they can look for free as a public viewer without an account, and they can bring up that map and they can zoom in on their area and see whether they're within that. We're just starting the process. The notification of homeowners will occur. We got to work with counties to determine the actual structures, the actual owners, etc., and get all that information so that we can make individualized, it's like, hey, this is coming your way. It may come from the state, may come from the county. That process is just kicking off, but they can certainly go in and they see that high-risk boundary touching their house on the map, they're in, so they'll be getting that notice eventually.
Reporting from outside the Department of Natural Resources, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
The small central Utah town of Price is mourning today following the death of a beloved fourth-grade teacher, Linda Garvin, last night. Price police say she was hit at a crosswalk at around 7 o'clock as she was attending a work Christmas party with multiple friends and co-workers. The driver was a teen boy, though the cause of the crash isn't yet clear. She was 64 years old and had taught at Castle Heights Elementary for years. Carbon County School District Superintendent Micah Salas says Price is a small town and the entire community is absolutely heartbroken.
I've known her for ever. Her husband was my high school teacher. She taught my daughter in first grade. I've known her for decades. Her family is heavily ingrained. Her family either currently are or have been teachers for us. Her extended family coaches for us and or teaches for us. They're heavily tied with the church. They are beloved neighbors and friends. We're a small town, and everyone's connected deeply. So I don't know what else to say. This family, the Garvin family, and their extended family have made a tremendous impact on the entire community. And so, yeah, we'll be hurting. We'll be hurting for a long time. This is a tragedy. So we're also extremely concerned about the driver of the car and the family involved on that side, because we know and love them just as much.
Salas says their crisis response team has been coaching teachers today on how to talk to their students about the loss. Mrs. Garvin's students have also been informed and were told that they could stay home if they needed to or come to school to receive support. Salas says they have great counselors at the school who are ready to help grieving students and staff as they cope with this devastating loss. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Utah's housing market is forecast to remain healthy in 2026, bucking a trend of falling house prices in other Western markets. Utah Association of Realtors President-elect Aaron Drussel says while the market is healthy, homes still aren't affordable for a lot of people.
Prices have gone up significantly over the last several years, and wages haven't kept up with that same rate. And you're seeing the cost of building that has gone up, and we haven't seen the influx of new homes to keep up with the current demand. So we're still seeing more demand than there is supply, and that's causing an issue, and it's still creating affordability issues across the board for us here.
Drussel tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson potential home buyers have been hoping for some pricing relief, but that may not be in the cards.
I think you have an issue in our current marketplace where a lot of people have been waiting for something to happen on the affordability front. And so there has been this perception that prices will drop. And that's what people are waiting for. I mean, like when you have people that are waiting for affordability, they're trying to see how can I buy? And the two ways of being able to buy are either prices come down or rates adjust to allow homes to become more affordable. And you have a lot of people that are kind of waiting for both of those things to happen. And that's kind of been the trend recently over the last year and a half. People have kind of been waiting to see what would happen in our marketplace here.
He says right now the market is allowing buyers some negotiating power while sellers are still able to get close to the asking price on average.
The average price of a home is still selling for about anywhere right now between about 97 to maybe 96.5% of the list price. Now, granted, there are homes in the marketplace that might be priced higher, and you're seeing people make adjustments on those prices to get to a certain place. And when they get to a certain place, then they do sell. And when they do sell, they sell for about 97% of that price.
He says the wait and see position that many are taking may not be that beneficial.
The challenge that we have in today's world is we have so much information that it causes people to end up in paralysis with so much information. And so what happens is they get all the noise of all the things, and they kind of wait to see, well, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to be the last person who buys at the wrong time. And so I'm going to wait to see the right time to buy. And the reality is, I mean, I've been in real estate now for over almost 25 years. And I can look back at every year I've been in the real estate, and I don't know if I've ever been in a market where it felt like it was the right time to buy. Because I always feel like it's a stretch. Every time I bought a home for myself, it always felt like a stretch. And I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right move to make? So in any market we're in, I feel like it's always going to be a feeling of a stretch. And right now, because of all the information that we have access to, it's really easy to kind of get in this overwhelm phase. And most people, when they either experience a lot of overwhelm or they feel uncertainty, which is like a grown-up word for fear, they just kind of pause and they just decide I'm going to wait to do anything. And we have a lot of people who are kind of waiting to see how things will play out.
Dressel says, with our booming economy, our housing shortage, and the Olympics on the way, home prices are not likely to shift the way that buyers would like. He says it might be better to buy sooner than later. Honoring and remembering those within the homeless community who have passed away this year. I'll tell you more about a vigil tonight coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
I-15 still running smoothly from Ogden to Provo. Looking at a little bit of intermittent slowing, though, on State Street. This is spanning between Murray and Draper. Looking for the ultimate holiday gift? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off. Visit minkycouture.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Holidays are here, the countdown to Christmas, and it's time for you to make your reservations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I have to tell you how festive it is, whether it's downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple or up at Hotel Park City. Just the atmosphere, the decor, it is spectacular at Ruth's Chris. Now, as great as that ambiance is, you're there for a steak, right? You're there for a great, great meal. And Ruth's Chris Steakhouse never disappoints. Pick out that perfect steak. It will be cooked to perfection, and it's not just steaks. They have the seafood and the poultry and other dishes and the desserts at this time of year, the side dishes. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the perfect place to celebrate the holidays this year. And don't forget, the perfect stocking stuffer, a gift card from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Tonight, community members will come together to hold a memorial vigil to remember those who have passed away while experiencing homelessness this year. Communications coordinator for the Salt Lake Valley Coalition to End Homelessness, Tony Pisa, joined me to talk about the importance of this event.
Tonight's vigil is this really amazing collaboration between a wide variety of community partners in Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County. All of the organizations touch and interact with the homeless population to different capacities and different avenues and stuff like that. But what we're hoping to accomplish is essentially just memorialize the homeless folks that have passed in the last year. This could be because they could be unhoused, they could have been housed in the last couple of years and still have passed. But a lot of times they're disconnected from their families or there's very little contact. So this is probably in a lot of cases one of the only ways for any of these homeless people to kind of get a memorial service as sort of like a last tribute to their life. So the main goal is to memorialize those people. And I would say that a lot of people in attendance, whether they're lived experts or the homeless population, also get a chance to kind of memorialize friends and people they've been in contact with. And it also kind of serves as a close to home reminder of like how, I've heard people say that this could have been them or they could have been in a situation very much like this. And so it's a kind of a stark reminder of a lot of those things and just how close to home this hits.
How many people are you remembering tonight?
Our last list that I saw, we were just under 100 folks, but real close to 100.
That is a lot of people. That is very significant.
Yeah. I mean, what we do is we have a bunch of different organizations around the county that collect names throughout the year. I believe we've been doing this vigil for over a decade. I haven't been associated with it for that long, but it's been over a decade of practice. This is actually practice in most major cities across the country. And just gathering names throughout the year to have this memorial service is a big lift from all the different organizations that touch this issue.
I understand there's also significance of doing it on this date or at this time of year.
Yeah. So December 21st or December 22nd, depending what year we're in, it marks the winter solstice, which is the longest period of darkness and the shortest period of light. So it kind of is significant because there is an increase in daylight as we go forward from that date, but also it kind of memorializes that darkest part. So the candle light is, and there's a lot of history behind, adding candlelights in Scandinavian countries and stuff like that in general, but the candlelight kind of signals that, small bit of light in an otherwise dark scenario, which seems metaphorically related to the situation, the homeless situation in general.
How do you hope this event or events like this will help us all come to some sort of solutions or some sort of end to homelessness?
I would hope that this event shines a lot of light on the organizations doing the hard work. I hope that people can see that. I think it brings a lot of awareness from the actual homeless community on some of the resources out there. We're actually doing a day of drive today to try and gather some clothing and blankets and stuff like that for the homeless folks so they can get in touch with that. But mostly what I would hate for it to be is just kind of a flash in the pan situation where people kind of do their thing every December 21st and then kind of move on with their lives. Like, I hope that the significance of it kind of puts a face on homelessness and puts a face on the people that are experiencing this and the real humanitarian struggle that we have.
The vigil will be held tonight from 5:30 to 6:30 on the northeast corner of Pioneer Park in Salt Lake City. SNAP benefits are back after the longest government shutdown in history, but new work requirements are causing confusion among Utahns who rely on federal food assistance programs. Gina Cornea with Utahns Against Hunger joined Inside Sources today to give some explanation as to why people are confused.
I was talking to someone about this last night, and honestly, it's just as much about the chaos that it has caused and the uncertainty. when they were debating HR 1, the OB3, and they were talking about cuts to SNAP and just, it was relentless. And so now, July 4th, the bill was signed. And it's going to impact a lot of Utahns. One, the bill made refugees ineligible for SNAP if they have refugee status, and that's over 3,000 Utahns who will now lose access to those benefits. Additionally, they're expanding work requirements. SNAP has always had work requirements, and this expands the work requirements from age 55 to 64. Well, that seems reasonable. I'm 62. I'm not quitting my job anytime soon. But many of those folks have a lot of barriers to employment. They, lack transportation. Maybe they can't drive anymore. Maybe they live in a rural community where there really aren't jobs. And so it just, it's created a lot of uncertainty sort of in the name of, fraud, waste, and abuse, when in fact the most fraud that happens is, people's benefits being stolen by criminal enterprises.
Cornea says she's concerned about the future of food assistance programs here at the state level, thanks to changes on the federal level.
I think going into this next session, we're really concerned. We have to have $13 million in additional funding for administrative costs. They pushed those additional costs onto the states. And we know it's going to be a rough session. Governor Cox announced that there's, $500 million less to spend because of the Trump tax cuts. And the people who are going to suffer and the people who are, who have the most to lose are low-income people who depend on housing and food and health care. And at least in SNAP, the majority of people who access those programs are seniors over the age of 60s, children under the age of 18, and people with disabilities. And so I think it's going to be a really rough time. And, pantries have already said they cannot fill the gap. They're feeling more pressure than ever. And even though Utahns are incredibly generous, and the food banks across the state do amazing work, that is not enough to replace benefits that people get from federal nutrition programs.
Gina Cornea is with Utahns Against Hunger. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. President Trump signing an order to reclassify marijuana. We'll get insights on what that means for people who already use medical marijuana. As the warmer weather continues deeper into winter, how is it affecting Utah's wildlife? And KSL traffic, Michelle?
The first sign of traffic slowing down southbound I-15 appearing right around 7200 south.
And we still have showers in the forecast for the Wasatch Front for the next few days. 30% chance today, up to 40% tomorrow.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franza. New details in the mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of an MIT professor at his home in Brookline, Massachusetts. Multiple sources briefed on the investigation, telling ABC News the two shootings may be linked. That information about a possible connection between the two incidents was developed in the last 24 hours as detectives worked on both cases and compared notes. The sources also say investigators believe they're close to identifying a suspect. President Trump signing an executive order today reclassifying marijuana to a Schedule III controlled substance, saying it should be used only for medical use.
In no way sanctions its use as a recreational drug. It has nothing to do with it. Just as the prescription painkillers may have legitimate uses, but can also do irreversible damage.
Today's inflation report showing a 2.7% increase in consumer prices. It's the first report in nearly 2 months after October's report was canceled due to the government shutdown, and better than expected. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah schools are working hard to implement the state's new school guardian program. Authorities in Emery County say they now have at least one armed guardian in all of their schools. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
These armed guardians are school employees who volunteer and train to respond in the case of a real-life active shooter situation.
Going to school and being nervous about a possible shooting or something like that, it doesn't sit well with anybody, but I've always had just a big concern with that.
Emery County Sheriff Tyson Huntington tells me he was a little nervous about the idea after state lawmakers passed it 2 years ago, but now?
After this last summer, working with these guardians, I absolutely feel safer with them in our schools.
Huntington says he also has all of his deputies walk through every school and stay close by if possible during lunch and recess. That way, in the case if they ever do have a school shooter, whether it's them or a guardian, someone will be there ready to act. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. UDOT is starting to work on US 189 in Provo Canyon, making room for some new lanes and hoping to improve travel to Deer Creek Reservoir. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The department is closing the road between Main Canyon Road in Wallsburg and the intersection of SR 113 in Charleston to start work on the northbound lanes.
Will not only relieve traffic flow through that area, but also it will make it much safer because less chance for any head-on collisions and things like that.
UDOT's Wyatt Woolley says currently the turns are sharp and the roads are extremely dangerous during the winter months. They're still in the initial phases of the project right now, but the roadway will close Saturday night, with partial closures continuing into Sunday afternoon. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The last batch of bears around Utah finally settling into hibernation this week, almost 2 months later than usual. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The bears usually start their hibernation at the end of October, says Utah's Division of Wildlife Services. Spokeswoman Faith Jolly says they have GPS collars on around 30 bears in the state and watch them wandering long after they'd normally settle down.
They were still able to get, food that normally freezes by now, and so they just kind of kept fattening up before they went into hibernation.
Jolly says as long as a bear can get food, it will forage for as long as it can. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow up by 65 points, sitting at 47,951. S&P up by 58. The NASDAQ up by 313 points. Traffic and weather is sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, southbound delays aren't terrible yet, but we are starting to see the first slowdowns of the afternoon. This is starting at the South Interchange, heading just a little past 7200 South in the Midvale area. Once you get past that, seeing good speeds all the way into Provo and beyond. Northbound side also still in good shape. The Good Feet store is supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high in the 40s, but back into the 50s tomorrow. Still a 30% chance of rain today, 40% for tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. 46 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Think of a time when life knocked the wind out of you. Turned you completely upside down. Now, imagine if no one showed up. That's the reality for too many in Utah. Every day, people battle mental health challenges, addiction, and homelessness, often in silence, often feeling invisible. At Volunteers of America Utah, we show up with recovery support, counseling, youth programs, shelter, and people who simply refuse to give up on others. A safe bed, a warm meal, a conversation that says you belong. And right now, your gift is matched, helping twice as many people find hope and stability. Because when you help someone feel human again, you transform the whole community. Be the reason someone finds hope today. Visit voaut.org.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com. CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investorday.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. This afternoon, President Trump signed an executive order reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. The move opening up opportunities for research into medical applications and possibly leading to loosened regulations.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. We have people begging for me to do this, people that are in great pain. For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more, including numerous veterans with service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life. And it's so really, I mean, just, I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it, but hopefully this reclassification, which by the way polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life.
The president stressed that this reclassification does not allow for recreational marijuana use. That is still illegal at the federal level. Let's go in depth on what this actually means. KSL legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas, join me to describe what the reclassification actually means.
Yeah, so you stated it really well, Maria. And if you think about Utah's law with respect to marijuana, we do not allow recreational marijuana. We allow medical marijuana. And the reclassification, this to make it a Schedule 3 drug, means that it could be used for medical purposes. It could be studied for medical purposes. And like the president just said, people who have chronic pain or something like that could potentially be able to access marijuana under the federal law in a way that they couldn't right now. Right now, marijuana is illegal under the federal government. So, and our state makes it legal in certain circumstances. It's a real problem because certain states have some different classifications of marijuana. Some states have it recreational. This is absolutely not recreational use of marijuana. It classifies it similar to drugs like steroids, some of your pain medication, where it's available by prescription and it's available for medical purposes. And I think that's what the president is trying to do.
Okay, let's go back to the research part because I was a little confused. Scientists weren't able to research this drug for those other purposes?
Yeah, well, they certainly have, but in terms of getting federal funding for that type of research and being able to access Medicaid, Medicare type of funds that may be available for certain medical use, colleges can do research or certain groups can do research, but if you want the federal government to be able to put resources into it, it's got to be classified as something other than just a party drug, something that people just use to get high or get away for the weekend. So people are looking at this thinking, wow, we're going to have legal marijuana. That's absolutely not the case. It could be seen, Maria, as a step in that direction, but that's not where we're going by making it a Schedule 3 controlled substance. It's still a controlled substance, which means it is illegal to possess for no reason at all.
Okay, so this isn't going to change much in Utah. We already have medical marijuana, is it?
That's exactly right. It'll actually make the federal law more consistent with Utah state law than it has been in the past, and which is good because if you think about it, we have all these national parks and national forests, and so you could be driving in one area of the state and it's legal for medical purposes, but you enter federal land and it's illegal, and people don't. You're down at Lake Powell and you're using marijuana. It's illegal. Mm-hmm. You think, well, I'm in Utah. I have a medical card. It doesn't count if you're on federal property. So I'm getting into the weeds a little bit here.
But it's tricky.
Yes, it absolutely is. And we still have 50 states that have 50 different rules. So Colorado, California have legalized for recreational. I think Nevada does too. Those state rules will still be in place. But the federal law is more in line with what some states are doing, including Utah.
You mentioned this could be a stepping stone to actually making it recreational use of federal law, but the way the president phrased it today doesn't lead me to believe that that's what he wants to happen.
I don't think he wants that to happen yet, but if the medical research says that it's safe and it's not addicting, then maybe, like we do with alcohol, you could make something like this available for recreational use. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon, but opening the door to more research and to more studies into how it can help people and make their lives better might be a step toward making it like certain over-the-counter drugs, if you will. Maybe it could get to that point at some point.
So I'm curious, though, if they did come up with a federal law making it legal federally, recreationally, would Utah still have to, I mean, how would that work in this state?
Yeah, we have different laws between state and federal. So the feds can make it legal, but if the state decides we don't want it to be legal in our state, they can still make it illegal in Utah. And it's not contrary to federal law. It would just mean that the federal government could not prosecute you for that. So the federal government and state government don't necessarily have to be in line, just so long as they don't conflict with each other, that they don't step on each other's toes. So the feds say we're having it legal to this point. The states say, well, we'll have it legal to this point. That's not necessarily inconsistent. It's just different rules depending on which state you're in.
That is KSL's legal analyst, Greg Skordas. In the end, he says there may be some confusion at the state level, but it appears that there could be more research funding at the national level. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow and binge all episodes of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, available now wherever you listen.
Hey, Utah! Are you ready for the Utah Mammoth to hit the ice? From game-winning goals to behind-the-scenes moments, Mammoth Plus brings the action to you all season long. Whether you're at home, on the go, or in the stands, don't miss a single shift. Visit UtahMammothPlus.com and start streaming today. That's UtahMammothPlus.com. Every game, every goal, live on Mammoth Plus.
As the White House sees several physical changes, a new one has popped up, a wall of fame featuring portraits of former presidents and plaques featuring some choice words and strong criticisms from the current president about his predecessors. ABC's Rachel Scott has details.
First, it was paving over the Rose Garden, then it was demolishing the East Wing to make room for that ballroom. Now the president making additional changes to the colonnade. He has now unveiled what he is calling the Presidential Walk of Fame. This includes portraits of every single president. He has now added plaques with descriptions underneath. He's using it as an opportunity to take a swipe at his predecessors, calling former President Joe Biden sleepy and crooked, calling former President Barack Obama one of the most divisive figures in political history. I will tell you, we saw this yesterday. Many of these read like the president's social media posts, and that is because the White House press secretary says the president wrote many of these himself.
Many already criticizing the plaques for what some call unprofessional language. The lack of decorum, one of the things bothering Inside Sources host Holly Richardson.
You know, I'm just saying at some point you got to say, where is the decorum here? Because this is what it says under Joe Biden's plaque, the auto pen. Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history, taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States. Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. And then it just keeps going. I'm like, this is what you would have like in a museum. Here's a picture, here's a descriptor, and yet this is the type of language we have underneath it.
Co-host Greg Skorda says the comments read like something from a teenage yearbook.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the kind of sort of mocking and bullying, I guess, that you'd expect at a junior high or high school yearbook. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know what he put on Obama, but he's got some
it was not kind also.
serious Obama envy, and he's never going to get over that. And I mean, let's move on. Trump, it's not Biden's economy anymore. And it wasn't like we were the worst nation a year ago, and now we're the best nation.
Right.
Economy.
I know.
It's not significantly different. If anything, I think you have to admit that the economy is slightly worse than it was when Trump took office.
Now, the president previewed the plaques to Fox News' Laura Ingraham last month, saying the plaques would describe the former presidents, but didn't say anything about political jabs being included. After the break, we're going to finish things off with a lighter story about community members coming together to support those who go without this holiday season. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
Filling in and slowing down, Maria, southbound I-15 at the South Interchange, northbound as you're approaching Bangerter Highway, and eastbound I-80 between Bangerter Highway and the West Belt. It's time to try UTA. Less stress, no traffic, and more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say.
The problem is,
Don't look at a gift horse, cause you can't make them drink.
he gets a lot on the mixed up.
People who live in glass houses
Here it comes.
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth two in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. It does, you know.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Join KSL News Radio for a special movie show Monday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto-pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside. Just just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. You know what happens when you go to bed too late, but you still have to be up early the next day? For most people, that short night of sleep usually leads to some pretty grumpy moods the next day. Just ask my producer this whole week, Andy. Well, for Utah's wildlife, the kind that hibernate, the warmer weather has caused many of them to stay active much longer than normal. This week, the last few bears around Utah finally settled into hibernation almost 2 months later than usual.
Typically, black bears in Utah will go into hibernation at least by the end of October each year. But with this recent kind of record warm weather that we have seen, we actually have seen a few of our GPS collared bears that we track. They were still roaming around by like mid-November looking for food. As of this week, it looks like all of the bears that we have tracked have gone into hibernation, but it was kind of interesting to see that there were a few that had, kind of had a little bit of a couple week delay going into hibernation, likely because of the warm weather and just still being able to access food. So our biologists have basically said usually it's more the temperatures and like those hard freezes that end up impacting food sources. That is typically what drives bears into hibernation rather than just snow. So, but yes, kind of an interesting year. Nothing too significant. It doesn't seem like it's had any major impacts, but just kind of interesting to see that there were a few bears that we noticed did go into hibernation just a little bit later than normal.
Faith Heaton-Jolly is with the Utah Division of Wildlife Services, and she says that if bears hibernate a few weeks late or get back into activity a few weeks early, it usually doesn't affect the bears too much.
The weather was warmer. They were still able to get, food that normally freezes by now. And so they just kind of kept fattening up before they went into hibernation. And usually they've already kind of had their breeding season before they go into hibernation. And then the females will give birth while they are denning during the winter. So yeah, usually if they're pregnant, they're already pregnant, as they've gone in, they will basically have that pregnancy occur while they're in hibernation. So yeah, usually though it's not anything significant if there's a couple week delay on one side of their hibernation period or the other.
But unlike me, when I don't get enough sleep, the bears shouldn't be any crankier than normal when they come up for air in the spring. Should the United States look to the land down under and ban social media for kids? With more on that, here's ABC's Mike Dubusky with Tech Trends.
Australia's ban on social media for kids under 16 has been in effect for a few days now, and it has many wondering whether the U.S. could adopt similar legislation.
A lot of young people that I'm talking to in our community both welcome this, but also are wary of this.
Sophie Barron is the founder and CEO of the Gen Z group The Conversationalist. She says actually enforcing a ban like Australia's is near impossible.
I think there are measures that could be taken to reform social media platforms, but in essence, I don't know if a ban is possible, nor would it be effective.
To that point, she adds, the social media platforms have given many young people community, advocacy, and education, particularly to those who feel isolated.
And I think we should be asking ourselves, if we were to ban platforms in America, is this in essence restricting young people's access to diverse points of view? And I would argue that that's something that we need more than ever right now in our country.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
A Salt Lake favorite is turning cookies into something much bigger this holiday season, support for kids who need it most. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera stumbled upon the effort on social media, finding a story about giving that goes well beyond Christmas. It began with a short video online, a call for the community to help Ruby Snap cookies support Salt Lake County Youth Services. Now, Eric spoke with bakery manager Michelle Brockman.
We were actually approached by Salt Lake County Youth Services, and they asked if they could put a Christmas tree here in the bakery, where we have got ornaments on here that it's the gifting tree, which if your readers or your listeners can remember back in the day when it was the angel tree, and apparently there was some conflict with trademarking, so they have now changed the angel tree to the gifting tree. So what it is they're helping abused, neglected, and at-risk youth and young adults in the community. So when you come into Ruby Snap, there's a little tag that's hanging on the tree, and it has a QR code that takes you right to either the wish list, Venmo, where you can donate money, or PayPal. So it's very, like, when I think about the giving tree that I used to take off, it's a way different, because with the technology that we have, you can immediately know what those children or that youth, their needs are, and you can either donate it via like Amazon, or you can give cash. So it's a really cool program, and it's quick, instant, and we also would take, if someone wanted to bring stuff into the bakery and wrapped, they're going to be picking this up next week to give to those youth.
Michelle says customers have already taken dozens of tags from the tree, and staff keep refilling it as new donations come in.
I've watched people come in, and we've had to put, because we've had some that they've been taken, so they've taken them with us, so we've had to replenish the tree. But I mean, there's such a need out there, and we would love it if people could stop by and pick them up, and it could be in small increments, but all that comes together and makes a huge difference in our community.
A good reminder of the importance of giving back to your community, not just during the holidays, but year-round. And speaking of giving, I know it's warm outside, so it's really tough to think about quarters for Christmas and helping kids with warm coats and boots, but we need your help because the cold weather will arrive and there are children who don't have those things. So we hope you'll help us with this great program. Give whatever you can, really easy to do, kslquarters.com, and then you know that you're helping to keep a child warm this winter. And remember, none of your money goes to administrative fees. Every cent goes to helping those children. And I hope you'll join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas. Jeff Kaplan is here. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan in Salt Lake City. We're at 46 degrees, KSL's top story. Now that police have made an arrest, we're learning more about the death of a man found outside his RV in Sugar House. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera's on Lincoln Street with reaction from the area. Eric?
Jeff, police say they've been working the shooting death of 57-year-old Steve Callis as a homicide since it happened around 3 Sunday morning. Today, they announced the arrest of 36-year-old Nathaniel Stockton. Investigators say surveillance video and phone data placed Stockton near the scene around the time of the shooting, and they say the RV Callis was staying in was left with multiple bullet holes, underscoring just how violent this encounter was. Just behind the businesses here are apartment buildings. Deborah lives in one of them, right near where police focused their investigation.
It concerns me, but our neighbors are all very close to each other.
Does it at least give you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that the police are on it and that they've announced that they made an arrest?
It does. It does make me feel better.
She says knowing someone is now in custody brings some peace of mind, even as questions remain. Police haven't released all the details about what led up to the shooting, and they say the investigation is still ongoing. Live in Sugar House, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Well, this began with questions from a judge.
Good morning. What is your name?
Christopher Thomas Wiggins,
who made his first appearance in court since he sparked an Amber Alert out of Ogden last month. Wiggins is accused of kidnapping a 13-year-old girl, taking her to Colorado. There are claims that he sexually abused her and fired shots at the girl's mother. With a public defender at his side, Wiggins will be back in court again January 7th. The community of Price is reeling after a beloved teacher was hit and killed by a car. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson with the story.
Price police confirmed 64-year-old Linda Garvin was hit while in a crosswalk as she and her co-workers were leaving a work Christmas party last night. The crash is under investigation, but police say the driver was a teen boy. Carbon School District Superintendent Micah Salas says the Castle Heights elementary teacher's death is hitting the small town hard. They had to call the families of Garvin's students today to deliver the news.
Letting them know what had happened and gave them the option to keep their student at home today, or let them know if they were sending them to school that we would have support for them.
Salas offered her condolences to Garvin's family, friends, students, and coworkers, but also,
we're also extremely concerned about the driver of the car and the family involved on that side because we know and love them just as much.
Salas says their crisis response team has been activated and they have counselors on site to help all those who are grieving. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time 3:03. Our top national story: if a Trump administration proposal becomes law, hospitals that perform gender-changing surgery for minors would be cut off from federal funding. Dr. Oz runs the Medicaid program. He says doctors who perform gender-related surgery on kids are moving too fast.
What it really does is slap a Band-Aid on a much deeper pathology, a much deeper problem, the underlying issue of gender dysphoria. It denies patients the opportunity to be seen for who they really are.
Dr. Richard Ferguson with the Black Physicians of Utah says this proposal would harm people who need life-saving treatment.
Parents that really wanted to try to get this type of care for their children that have gender dysmorphia, which you cannot counsel away, parents will face higher costs. And it'll lead to some forced care disruption.
Ferguson says the move will disproportionately affect lower-income families. Hours after the president's speech last night, this morning, we learned inflation is coming down. Prices were still going up last month, the inflation rate 2.7%, but it was the best report in months. Still, prices rose.
We're paying more for the basic essentials. Of course, we're away from that runaway inflation we saw, right, in 2022 when inflation was above 9%. But we are still paying more for essentials like food and rent and energy prices, which, by the way, were up more than 1% in this report.
There was no inflation report last month because of the government shutdown. U.S. servicemen and women are going to get a little extra something in their upcoming paycheck. President Trump making the announcement during his primetime address last night.
In a surprise announcement, President Trump said in his speech last night that more than 1 million troops will receive a $1,776 check before Christmas, what he called a special warrior dividend. A senior administration official says the money will come from the One Big Beautiful Bill, which set aside nearly $3 billion to supplement a housing allowance for troops. The check doesn't have to be specifically used for housing and can be considered a bonus for U.S. service members. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And the White House says the Kennedy Center will soon become the Trump Kennedy Center after a vote by the institution's Board of Trustees. Democrats and members of the late President John F. Kennedy's family are questioning whether this is even legal. The law that establishes the building named it the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. KSL News Time 3:06. We have first look traffic. Eric Butler's in the traffic center.
Actually, Eric here is here as well. I'm Mark Christiansen.
Mark, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm very happy to be here with you as well.
We need to bust a window through this wall.
I know.
I'm serious.
I'm looking right at the wall. It looks like I-15 southbound right now, a little bit heavy near Hillfield Road. This in the Layton area due to a crash earlier. It involved a school bus. They pulled everything off to the right-hand side. Doesn't look like there's any injuries or anything. Most of the emergency crews have left the scene there, but traffic is backed up for a couple of miles behind that. You get further